a
So
big
wait, hold on,
believer.
hold on, hold on. So he was saying that after you made 140, what, 148?
148, yeah, 148 ain't 150.
So they're savages. So they cut through it like that. Like, yo, you didn't make 150. Yo.
Savages, they
Whoa.
weren't playing around, and that was a unique experience of company culture, what works well and what doesn't work well.
Okay, awesome. Welcome to the Rubasha Family Podcast. We've got the one and only Larry Long Jr., someone who ignites sales teams and sales leaders, business professionals with the jolt, which I really want you to go in and talk about. You're someone, Larry, who, you know, you can never box you in. You're someone from your first impression. You've always had a creative spirit. You've always gone about things different to everyone else, and that's what's made you successful. When we had a conversation on the phone, I said, Larry, how can I be a good sales professional? You said, huh? You said, and then I said, Larry, what are you talking about? You said, huh, that's the point. It's a joke. You need to listen, and the ability to listen will carry you through. So so you've been amazing in being able to just again use your imagination to create big things and help salespeople carry results. So I think today we want to talk about some money. How do we make money with creativity? How do we make money in an authentic way? So thank you so much for coming on the show.
I love it. I love it. Now you're talking my language. Happy to be here with you. Thank you for allowing me to join your platform. Before we get started, if no one has told you so far today, I'm not going to have a wardrobe malfunction, but I just want to make sure that you and your listeners know you are absolutely awesome. For those that are just listening, my shirt says awesome with an exclamation point. You are awesome.
Marketing is all about storytelling. Dad, when we first started this business, what did you say to me?
I said, yes, we do a podcast
Why?
because I want to tell our story.
Why?
Because I know the story build a legacy.
Builds a legacy. And that is exactly what we do here at ETS Rubasha Media. We market your story on social media so you could build a legacy for those who come after you to build your business and your personal brand.
Yeah, follow us on our platform. Go on our website, etsrubashamedia.com.
This is about legacy and it is about showing up on social media every single day because if you don't show up, your competition will. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Larry. Really, really appreciate you for coming on. So just to get started, can you talk to us a little bit about like how you started your career and what you've been through to get where you are?
Yeah, so I mean, I started selling with Lawns by Larry when I was just a teenager, knocking on doors around the neighborhood, selling my lawn care and miscellaneous services. I would shovel snow. I was out there hustling, but professionally, I got my start working at Accenture doing IT consulting. That was after I played baseball at University of Maryland. Go Terps! Yes, I am a turtle. And after Accenture, I opened up my own business. I opened up an indoor baseball and softball academy, teaching youngsters the fundamentals of the game as well as the fundamentals of life. When that didn't work out, I had to get back to the real world, and the real world was making 150 cold calls to accounting firms, CPAs and accounting firms to sell software that took the numbers off the income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flows, and provided a written narrative to help accountants help their business owners. I fell in love with software and software sales leadership, and I had the opportunity to work with I think I've worked for 10 different companies, 8 different companies, 10 different stops. 2 companies I left and then came back, generally in a sales and sales leadership capacity. So that's been my journey. Now I'm a full-time motivational speaker, MC, coach, trainer, and author, getting folks jolted and zapped into intentionality so that they can not only rediscover, but also believe in their inner greatness.
Inner greatness. Wow, I love that. What a way to articulate exactly what you do and how you help the marketplace. So let me ask you, when we talk about sales, okay, so you said something earlier, cold calls. Okay, so let's start a business, Larry. Let's have some fun today. Let's have some fun with the viewers listening. We want to start a business. let's say myself and you come up with a speaking business. We want to be, okay, how do we be speakers, right? So you said you had to make cold calls. Why did you make, what was the amount of cold calls that you had to make, and why that number?
150 a day, and that was the number that the company set. Funny story, it was week 2. I was still in my probationary period. I made 148 calls. My manager called me in his office, and he said, if you make 148 calls again, we're going to tell you like the LA Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox told you, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Thank you for
So,
coming out. God bless you and good night. See you later, alligator. So you better believe that I hit that metric. Now, I'm a
so
big
wait,
believer.
hold on. So he was saying that after you made 140, what, 148?
148, yeah, 148 ain't 150.
So they're savages. So they're cutthroat like that. Like, yo, you didn't make 150. Yo.
Savages, they
Whoa.
weren't playing around, and that was a unique experience of company culture, what works well and what doesn't work well.
So can you talk to, okay, so talk to me about that experience. So what I want to know is why 150? What's the maths behind that? Let's play a game. And so what was the pitch like? What did you have to do? Talk us through it.
Yeah, so that was just the number that they set. They said, "Hey, we're gonna smile and dial, and we're gonna do high volume, and we're gonna bombard the market." I think behind the scenes, they had been approached by a competitor that wanted to acquire them, and pretty much said, "If you don't sell to us, we're going to demolish you." And the leadership said, "Nah, you're not gonna demolish us. We might not be the big dogs in the house, but we will certainly outwork you." And that was the mindset. In terms of the calls, the purpose of the calls was to invite folks to join a webinar. So out of 100, let's take a look at the numbers. 150 calls, generally on average, 16 to 25 actual conversations with accountants. If you think about it, accountants get paid. Time is money. So they're not just picking up the phone. If you're not a client, they're just not picking up the phone talking to you. So essentially, it's playing that game of how can you avoid the gatekeeper, that receptionist that says, thank you for calling. How can I help you? Well, I'm trying to reach the boss, and he or she is saying you're not gonna reach the boss. My job is to prevent you and to stiff arm you from speaking to the boss. So you find ways around it. A lot of times, business owners they come in early, whereas the receptionist comes in at 8:30 or 9 o'clock on the dot. Business owners work through lunch. Receptionists sometimes take a lunch. Business owners work late, 5 o'clock. Those chairs are spinning. Receptionists are out the door. So you find ways to get through, and sometimes it's just a brutally honest conversation. I know your job is to prevent me from speaking with the owner. My job is to speak with the owner. Where does that leave us? And that's the power of questions and the power of listening. And people are people. So you get the interest of, well, why are you calling? Why are you trying to speak with my boss? Well, I'm trying to help your business. I'm trying to help those business owners that your CEO, that your business serves. Are you interested in serving them better and helping them? Not interested. Click or tell me more or send me more information. So you just learn, especially when you're doing high volume, you've got a lot of data points to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Okay, so it's really, so how long do you think for someone to get through 150 calls in a day would take them?
Well,
A
you
shot.
do you do the math. I mean, essentially, we worked. We got in at 8 a.m. and we left right around 5 o'clock, 5:30. So you budget your time. I remember we used to have sheets with tick marks to figure out how many ticks you needed to make each hour in order to hit the 150. And a lot of folks were just trying to get to 150. They didn't really care if they got folks on the webinar, but the goal was to get 3 signups every day onto the webinar. We knew out of the 3, on average, just under 2 were going to actually show up. A lot of no-shows because people say, yes, I'm going to attend just to get you off the phone. They don't have any intention of showing up for a webinar.
And how much would the client be worth? the lifetime value and the whatever they'll get after that webinar, the results of that webinar.
Yeah,
What
it was based on size. I think at the time our average deal size was right around $8,000 to $10,000, depending on the size. If you were a sole proprietor, accounting firm, of course you were going to pay a lower monthly,
Mhm.
and your ARR was going to be lower. But if you were a mid-size to larger, we were able to close some bigger deals. And let me just share this with you. This was back in 2005 to 2007, 2009 to 2011.
Wow. Okay. This is very interesting and it makes a total sense. If we can call 150 people and by at least one person we can get to come in and pay 8 to 10 grand, that makes it worthwhile, right? So this is very intriguing, and why you're such a powerful person to have on the show. We've been partnered with an AI company that does that more on a sales development representative in terms of like LinkedIn and emails, being that person to get people in the meetings, right? And then apparently soon AI will come up with closes or whatever else. But I think for us, this has worked extremely well. So that's why this is a powerful conversation in also a game of numbers. So let me ask you, in today's day and age, what we do, for example, outreach, LinkedIn, email, powerful platforms. We're in the B2B space, numbers game, right? When it comes to calling people, for me it works really well because also being a CEO and founder, I'm passionate. It's about, okay, how can we just have a conversation? What would you advise? Would you go back to that gameplay of inviting people to a webinar? Because what I like about a webinar is you're one to many. And so if I can keep calling people to kind of get one to many, the deal size can go up. So I wanted to ask you, how should companies play that role in sales where we have the online stuff with our AI, or human people, we have cold calling. Do we stick it to one, which we can sometimes with warm products, or do we go, let's just go for the webinar and sell one to many?
Yeah, it really depends on the business, the average deal size. I would not recommend making 150 cold calls. When you look at the percentages and the conversion rates of the number of calls to the number of deals that we got, it was a very low conversion rate,
Oh
and we
wow.
were pretty much pounding the pavement. What I would say is you want quantity and quality. So it's a balance. Making 150 calls, our reps were not focused on quality at all. They pretty much wanted anyone with a pulse saying, yeah, I'll sign up. So it was really a lot of waste. When you talk
Yeah.
about B2B, when I think of B2B, I don't think of business to business. I think of belly to belly. What you and I did before when we chatted, we were getting belly to belly. I was getting to know you, you were getting to know me. We were forging a relationship, which when you go upstream and you've got larger deal sizes, that relationship, people want to work with folks that they know, they like, they trust, and that they believe in, that they have their best interests in mind. So a transactional interaction isn't going to build that. And can you close off a transactional? Of course you can. Can you close at a high close rate? I haven't seen it done. Does that mean it's impossible? No, anything is possible. But for me, I'm trying to build a genuine relationship that shows that, hey, this is a partnership and not just a one time transaction.
Okay, so let me ask you this now. Okay, if we're building a business, from what you're telling me, it more seems that deal flow, especially if we have a good solution, may take a bit of time. We've got to build the relationship. Some sales cycles in our business, kind of like 3 months, right? So it depends. So we're looking at that. So are you saying, is it still possible for us to make, let's say, deal sizes worth up to $2,000? Can we make those on a one call close, if of course, like you said, we're speaking to the right people? Because I think that's very valuable. If I call even just 20 people of the right people, I've got a higher chance. Even just 3 people to get into a meeting out of 20, I'll take that, with
Yeah,
8 to 10,000 dollars and above.
yeah, of course, with a smaller deal size, you can push for a one-time, a one-call close. That was the purpose of our webinar, was to get folks on. Now, as I said, when we moved upstream, we realized that larger accounting firms and regional and national accounting practices, we're not going to get the right people on the webinar. That's going to be something that's more tailored more customized. But for your smaller mom and pop solopreneur, 1 to 5, 5 to 10 employees, that was more amenable to the webinar model. So we learned along the way, and I encourage folks to make adjustments, find out what is working well, double and triple down on it. I'll give you an example. For me, LinkedIn, I get close to 90%, a little over 90% of my business from LinkedIn as the platform, from relationships, because I'm a speaker. No one needs a speaker for their event until they need a speaker. Like you can call 100 people, they're going to say, we just had our event. We don't need a speaker. Follow up with us next year. Well, I'm going to go ahead and schedule follow up with them next year, 6 months in advance of their event, because I know that's when they're deliberating. I know that's when the time is right. And I want to be that person that they're considering to partner with them. So that's just me personally. I'm playing chess, not checkers.
I I absolutely love that. I'm a genius sometimes when it comes to these things. So when I see a clip, that's what we say. When I see a clip in my head,
Yeah.
you just got a clip right there. LinkedIn is absolutely powerful, and I want to talk about this right now. Because it's a big topic. I think there's no greater opportunity alive to be on LinkedIn. I love what you said is you're more saying, which is a great topic. I like to talk about marketing versus sales, where I got to stay top of mind, right? If I'm on LinkedIn B2B, what are most people doing on LinkedIn? They're at work, right? It's their kind of getaway. It's the professional place. Boom. What do? They see Larry Long Jr. Boom. Every time. Boom. I see this guy always on stage, always talking, always smiling, always, he's talking about sales, and it's the word of mouth. Now, that's a long-term game because that doesn't always quantify sales, Larry. You know what I mean? And sometimes people just got bills to pay. Some people, they want things quicker, so they don't understand the personal branding game like we do. Because you just said it, we are playing chess. We're playing chess, not checkers,
Yeah,
which
we're,
is
we're playing we're playing the Larry Long game, and I'm gonna say yes again. For me, there's two ways. Either you go and get the business, or the business comes and gets you. I like them both. So I'm a go getter and I'm a go giver. I'm gonna give and give and give as much value as I can, and that's gonna lead to inbounds. And I'm gonna go get exactly what I want. I used to work with a coach, and my coach said, Larry, healthy people ask for exactly what they want. So I reach out to folks that host events and pay speakers, and I let them know exactly what I want. I would love the opportunity to partner, to serve, and to speak at your event. How do we make that happen?
wow. That's a good pitch. So that's your kind of like pitch, like, hey, so I don't need to want to give all your source away because this is who you are, this is what you do. I love
It's,
it.
it's open
Uh,
to anyone. No one can
yeah.
do it like me, thankfully. I'm one of one. So I encourage people to find what works best for you. This is what works best for me. I see that you're hosting the Rubasha family team event coming up, kickoff event in January the 15th. I would love to be on that stage. How do we make that happen?
There we go, like this, talking about it. And I mean, for me, like this is. I just dropped an article on LinkedIn about how social media now. It's not about followers. It's not about how many people you have and how many views. Like, of course, that comes over time. That's natural. Again, for the people who are playing chess, but it's you build your tribe. Everything you're saying, all your confidence, the way you speak. It's my language, and through AI we're able to find our community. People like this is a what? It's a Tuesday, 12 p.m. I'm doing a podcast with Larry, you know what I'm saying? Just talking our shit, you know what I mean? Giving game, helping someone here who's maybe at work, who's listening in, who's trying to, make sales, trying to run their business. Maybe he's dealing with that short-term versus long-term mentality, and we're here motivating them. So that's what I love this. So okay, so talk about it, Larry. How do I now have the patience between the short-term game and the long-term game, right? So you're saying I got to build the relationship. So okay, we'll play with our CRM. We've got, how do we blow up a business here? Let's make some money. It's Tuesday, 12 p.m.
Yeah, we've got a closed business. And
Okay.
a good colleague of mine, John Barrows, he's the godfather of SaaS sales. He made a comment that I'll never forget. The cure to almost every sales ailment is a big, robust pipeline. So
Ooh.
how are you generating top of funnel pipeline? And he calls it, he's got a program called Fill the Funnel. I love it. How are you filling your funnel so that you're not out there desperate? Think about it. You go into November and December, you've only got a handful. Let's say you only have 3 deals that you're working. You need 2 out of the 3. If I've got 15 deals, I'm okay. I can brush my shoulders off. I can breathe in and breathe out because I know I'm going to convert and I know that they need me more than I need them. I'm coming from a position of power. I'm coming from a position of truly serving them. And if the time isn't right for them to be served, it's okay. I know that the timing changes. I'm going to keep filling my funnel and I'm going to keep serving people versus just focusing. A lot of sales professionals, and I use air quotes because they're amateurs, but a lot of sales professionals put on those rose colored glasses. Everything is awesome. It's all sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, when in actuality, it's not. They're not asking the tough questions. They're not asking, when will we get this deal done? Why are we going to get this deal? What could come in between us getting this deal across the finish line? What do you need from me? Here goes what I need from you. Let's go. Either we're going to go, I think they say piss or get off the pot. Let's go. There's no better time than right now. And if the timing isn't right now, I need to get you out of my pipeline. I need to go ahead and separate the true prospects from the suspects. I don't like spending my time with tire kickers, with suspects. I like working with prospects that are, in the words of the great philosopher, Master P. They're bout it. Is you bout it?
I love it. I love it. It's so powerful what you're saying. I want to tell you a quick story. I had someone on the phone, the meeting, right? And straight away, I started the meeting. I said, "Can I be honest with you?" They were like, "Yes." I said, "You know what? I don't think," and I call her Kerry because she's such an amazing person. I was like, "Kerry, I don't think you need my service. I think this is a luxury. It's basically a nice to have. Your personal brand being that it's a nice to have. I don't think you need this service." And I just wanted to see what was it about. You know what she said to me? She said, "You know what, Sujiro, you're right. I didn't need it. I've just joined this, da da da." Imagine we got done within the call within 15 minutes, and I said, "Hey, whenever you are ready and this does appeal to you, you know where to find me." You know what I mean? And then I think for her, she was like, "You know what?" Like she was like a bed, like she was happy. She could go do what she wanted to go do, go and build her empire, come back later. If not, boom, I told her, "Hey, we can even come on the podcast even later. Let's talk." So like what you basically said to me was, if we build that pipeline, I can have without you, with or without you energy. If I have without you energy, I'm cool. Okay, if we can't do it, like I'm not desperate, which is a powerful place to be. So if you're saying 15 meetings, shit, even if we're getting 15 or that pipeline, we want to get 30. We want to fill that pipeline is what you're saying. So, wow, how does one go about filling that pipeline now, Larry?
I'm glad you asked. There's so many different ways for outreach. So, I mean, of course, you can pick up that 500-pound phone, reach out and touch someone. You can send emails. People's email boxes are fuller than full. You can reach out via social channels. And hold on, let me see if I can find. I'm glad you asked the question. I used to have a list of all the various ways that we could outreach to our prospects to fill our funnel, but I'll keep going. Snail mail is a lost art. When was the last time that you sent a postal mail? Billboards. I don't know too many speakers that use billboards, but I'm going to be one of the first that I'm aware of. PR, podcast. You can host a podcast. You can be a guest on a podcast. Television, radio, conferences, referrals, references. You can attend meetings. You can speak at conferences. You can put out thought leadership, blogs. You can speak on stage. You can write books. You can be a published author. You can publish white papers and articles. You can be active in communities where you're serving people. There are so many ways to connect with people. I encourage people to find your top 3 to 4. For me, LinkedIn is number 1. Number 2 is email. Number 3 is conferences, speaking at conferences, because when you speak at a conference, you're immediately the authority. They're not going to put
Mhm.
someone on stage that isn't the authority. And then number four is referrals and recommendations. It's great for me to talk about how great I am until I'm purple in the face. But when I've got an army of allies out there saying Larry is the next best thing to sliced bread, ooh wee! In the words of the other great philosopher, J.J. Walker, that is dynamite.
You see, I know why you're successful because I can imagine you on the phone. I feel like you could sell to me like very, very good on the phone. So let me ask you, okay, so what you just said there is wonderful. Quick scenario, can I ask you, how did we get this meeting today? Did I cold call you?
I think you sent me a message on LinkedIn if I can recall correctly.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
because
so.
I think I had also called you, but LinkedIn. Da, da, da. So you just said there, LinkedIn is the number one place you go to. Why LinkedIn, and how do you approach people on LinkedIn? Where right now more than ever, it's a noisy market. My LinkedIn mailbox is a war zone. People just open up a message, just pitching to me anyhow. You don't know, just So how does one stand out on LinkedIn to fill up that pipeline?
Yeah, they call me LinkedIn Larry for a reason. It's because I go B2B. I'm not like everyone else that connect and pitch, where they connect and then they immediately pitch you. I'm not going to pitch slap you. I'm going to actually do my research. I'm going to dig in and see that you played soccer. I'm going to dig in and see that you're on a world tour and that you're coming to North Kakalaki, that you're holding it down in Georgia. I'm going to go ahead and send you a message that's not like everyone else, written, generated by AI. I'm going to send you a video message. Here goes what my video message looks like. Hold on, can you hear me now? Is my microphone on this terrific Tuesday? I am just saying thank you, thank you, thank you for all the good that you're doing out there. Now, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm reaching out because I want to partner with you. I want to serve your audience. I want to support your audience. And how can I do that? Well, I generally rock the mic as a keynote speaker or an MC. I'm curious, could we hop on a call to discuss if that makes sense? And if not, I still wish you all the best and continued success. Thank you for your time. Bye for now. Peace. Who's sending video messages like that in people's LinkedIn inboxes? I can probably count on one hand and two fingers how many people I'm aware of that consistently send tailored, customized, non-AI Larry GPT messages directly to people that they want to engage with. That's my difference maker right there. That's my magic pixie dust. It's not magic. It's hard, intentional work that I do consistently.
Wow. I mean, that was quite powerful. So now you're helping us build our business because you're saying, okay, we found our channels, we found there's LinkedIn, and we can discuss email, but let's say LinkedIn. And then also you just said it there. A lot of people say, okay, you said one of the things, if I can get keynote speaking and speaking in stages, I'm speaking now one to many. So now I'm dealing, if I'm speaking in front of 40 people, 50 people, I convert 1% of that audience there, boom. From 10 grand to 20 grand is my average order value. Hey, happy days, right? And then you can get to a level you can get paid to speak also. So let's say you just said in your message, you deliver value, but you're very direct. A lot of people think, okay, how can I get keynote speaking stages? You just said, I just go and ask people. Like in the Bible, it says, when you ask, you shall receive. So what does that message now look like to get a keynote speaking engagement? Because like we just said, if we have higher numbers, so again, okay, quick tip for the audience out there, we use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You pay for it, boom, you can either now, I had a person there who I paid and they were manually, but again, it was more personal and looking at who I am, implementing that, and okay, how can you be efficient with it and speak to our tribe? Because the Sales Navigator is very good at finding your audience, right? So boom, giving them a quick tip there. So what does that message look like? That, because that message you just said there, if I was to open that, you've sparked my curiosity. No one sends a video message or even a voice message. So how now do we stand out from the crowd to get keynote speaking engagements?
Yeah, so speakers speak, and I've got the receipts. You can check the Carfax. I think last time I looked, I have 371 LinkedIn reviews of people that have partnered with me and been in my audience. I've got over 1,000 Talkadot reviews. So if I'm a meeting or event planner and I'm putting myself in their shoes, They want to find someone that delivers value to their audience. They want their audience to say, wow, that was an amazing experience. What they don't want is, who the heck hired Larry Long Jr.? He was terrible. Whoever hired him should be fired. You're fired. I provide the receipts and the expertise and the credibility that your audience is going to say, wow, that was good. So I encourage speakers to speak as often as you can, hone your craft and get the reviews, get the recommendations, get those folks that can provide social proof that you are who you say you are. Now you can take that and arm event planners, meeting planners, folks who hire speakers and pay speakers to let them know, I've done it before multiple times and I would love the opportunity to do it again. Are you interested? I'm not the right fit for everyone. Some meeting and event planners, they want a monotone, boring speaker and lecturer on their stage. If that's what they want, Larry Long Jr. is not the best fit. But if you want someone who's going to bring the energy, who's going to light up your audience, who's not only going to motivate, not only going to inspire, but actually transform and have your audience take action that's going to take them to the next level personally and professionally, that's what I do. That's what I do, and I can show you the proof, which is in the pudding.
Wow. So let's say now, how many messages are we sending a month on booking us as keynote speakers?
Oh man, I'm on LinkedIn all day, every day. I am sending messages every day. Shame on me because I don't count how many, but my volume each and every day. And I'll give your listeners and your viewers something easy to start with. I call it the 3-minute challenge. Every day I make sure I do the 15-minute challenge. So 3-minute challenge is just one a day. Find one person every day that you can reach out to unprovoked and surprise and delight. And in this case, you're not even asking them for anything. You're just making a relationship deposit. So that down the road, when you knock at that door and you are asking for something, you've already built equity. So often what I see is people go and they try to make withdrawals. And I'll give you a story. I used to own a baseball academy. I went to Bank of America and tried to withdraw $500. They laughed at me. They said, Larry, you're trying to make a withdrawal. You haven't made enough deposits to be able to withdraw. Well, let's think about our relationships. Let's think about how many times we ask to make a withdrawal and we haven't made any deposits. Unfortunately, we're overdrafted. We're overdrawn. We haven't given, therefore we won't receive. So the 3-minute challenge is a daily discipline for you to give and to serve and to support someone else without expecting anything in return. And what I found is that if you're diligent and you're consistent, it's going to come back to you 20-fold. At least that's been my experience. I encourage you to give it a try. I do the 15-minute challenge. I intensely reach out to at least 5 people every day to let them know I'm thinking about you, to let them know they're on my mind and making a relationship deposit. Hey, did you know? Hey, can I connect you with so-and-so? Y'all would be great. And by giving so much, it's absolutely magical. It's that silver bullet that everyone's looking for. It's that magic pixie dust that everyone wants. It's not out there. But when you work hard and you do it with intentionality and you give on purpose, it's amazing what comes back to you. That's just been my experience.
Well, I mean, that's quite powerful because you said something that some people might be shocked. 5. Why did he only say 5? We were talking in big numbers before, 150 calls a day. But you just said there, if you can focus on sending 5, but you never said anything about pitching, nothing about giving value. So that can work, right? You can go and someone can just even start off with, because the big numbers might intimidate someone, but consistency is everything. And it's like that in sales. Consistency is everything in life in general. But let's say you 5 messages of extreme value, not asking for anything, then, that will increase your chances. So I really love that notion of, and for me, we'd look at that and be like, okay, that works. Okay, let's send, instead of 5, we send 500 or 50, but, it is the point of adding value in that message. Wow,
Yeah,
powerful.
the more value you add, just from my experience, and the more genuine value, people can People can smell BS from a mile away.
Faking
They
it.
can
Yep.
tell whether you're authentic and whether you care, whether you give a damn, or whether you're just looking out for that person in the mirror. I call those people me monsters. All they care about is me, 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 me. They don't care about anyone else around them. That short-sightedness might get you success in the short run, but I haven't seen it consistently. So I choose to do things the right way. I think they call it integrity without compromise. Doing it the right way because it's the right thing to do. That's just the way I was raised.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So, can you talk a little bit about the personal brand? And then I want to finish it off closer towards the difference between marketing and sales. But how important has it been for you to build a personal brand? Because I'll give you a quick story. When I started building my personal brand, like, I was on YouTube and I was just documenting my life. But when I realized how powerful it was one day I Googled my name. And when I Googled my name and I saw what came up, like you even just spoke to me there and you knew I played, well, Australians call it, or, well, no, Australians actually call it soccer, but we call it
Football.
yeah, football is the real one. Um, but you knew I played football. I never told you that, right? I never had a conversation with you. You didn't know who I was, but you knew I played football. And it goes into back building the personal brand. So we can talk to CEOs of the highest caliber, hedge fund attorneys, all these different types of people. And it's credible because the personal brand is there. When they go on your profile, what you say in your message, because what you see is what you get with me. This is hey, what you see is what you get. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, Larry. So how important is a personal brand to you when it comes to also sales?
It's vital, at least for me, because when I show up to the table, when I show up to the Zoom, folks already know who I am and what I'm about, and they know me, they like me, or else they wouldn't take the call. They trust me because I've built that trust over time with everyone that I've encountered. I've built that brand and they believe that what I say is what I'm going to do. Now there's some people where their say do ratio is minimal. They say a lot and they don't do nothing. And it's like, oh, Houston, we got a problem. I ain't got time for that. I need someone who does what they say they're gonna do. So personal brand is who you are on the stage, off the stage, with everyone. How do you deal with people? That's personal brand for me. It's how do you represent and how do people feel you represent online or from your reputation. They say your reputation precedes you. Act accordingly. So that's just I've built my business off of my personal brand, off of the way that I interact with people because I genuinely care and I love helping people. I couldn't dim that light even if I tried.
Powerful, powerful. And I did forget to mention, guys, by the way, kind of disclaimer that Larry's also a father, and that's one of probably his best accomplishments he's ever made. So before motivational speaker and someone who's been in sales all these years and given us all this game, $1 million worth of game, he's also a father at the end of the day and a man. So that's quite powerful. Um, so, Larry, let's now talk about as we end it. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to continue this partnership, even in doing webinars, right? We can do a webinar like once a month or once every 2 months, right? Like, or once a quarter, something where we talk and break down systems within sales, because I think sales is important now more than ever. And we can break down and talk about different channels in sales because all it takes, like LinkedIn and email, you can make $1 million very easily by using just LinkedIn and email without even calling people, right? Like sticking to what works, like honestly. And then you add calling people. And then now with your experience, the companies can even hire you in that extent where you can now advise them, okay, we've got these systems. How do we improve this for the sale, right? So, like, what I'd like to ask you about is when you did pick up the phone, what how would you go through a pitch? How would you pitch someone? How could you get someone if you were to call me cold and I don't know who the hell you are, who the hell is this? Well, like who? How did you get my damn number? How do you convince that person like, hey, I've got your solution. I know well, again, that's maybe a tactic. How well do you know your customer? So that's an issue of quantity, quality, but that's a topic for a different day. Let's say you do know your customer, or how did you do it? How were you able to do that through your career, and how do you advise it?
So funny story. When I first started, I read off of a script like I was a robot. Hello, Terrific Tuesday. This is Larry Long Jr. calling with Profit Sense. How are you doing? Click. Who talks like that? And luckily, I had a manager, not the manager who called me in the office, but I had a different manager named James Hatfield who said, Larry, come in my office. I got to talk to you. He said, man, you got potential, but you got to rip the script, throw it away, talk to people like they're actual people. He said, talk to them like they're your homeboys, your friends from back home. I said, James, you don't know how I talk to my homeboys. That might be an HR violation. He said, you're right, Larry. He said, well, find a happy medium because right now you're sounding so robotic. You don't sound like a human. People like to talk to people. So I changed it. I flipped the script and essentially I would reach out and I would say, hey, how's it going? It's Larry here. I'm reaching out to accountants to help them. And first I got to ask, do you have any clients, business clients whose eyes glaze over when you start walking them through the income statement, the balance sheet, and the statement of cash flows?
Wow.
Now I listen to not just what they say. I can see the gears. I can feel the gears turning. I listen to not just what they say, but how they say it. Now, most of them say, yes. Well, that's great. Funny story. I used to be that person who my CPA would say, this guy just doesn't get it. The numbers that I knew, batting averages, stolen bases, RBIs, were baseball numbers, but they weren't business numbers. Would you have any interest in exploring a solution that takes those vital numbers and produces a written narrative so you can now truly be that trusted business advisor that you sought to be when you stepped in as an accountant?
Wow. So you've made him imagine his desire. Boom. You've just told him his desire, what he wants. That's what he wants to be that, you know.
Now, when you ask the question, the key is let them answer it and listen intently to what they're saying, how they're saying it, and still, even when they stop talking, silence is awkward. They'll continue talking, so you start to learn what's important to them. What are their hopes? What are their dreams? What are their aspirations? What are their challenges? Where can you possibly help them and serve and support them? Now, if they don't care about serving as the business advisor for their business owners, I'm curious, why is that? You just want to be a bean counter? Yes. Well, hey, good luck. I wish you all the best. I'm now going to call every one of your competitors in your region to find those that want to do more and want to up level more than just being a bean counter. So I wish you all the best, but you're not serving your clients. You're not doing what it takes to serve your clients. I'm going to find those that are about it, if you know what I mean.
And some may even double back on you, or some may, but you'll still leave a seed in their mind that they may come to you sooner. Like I always think like that too. Hey, like I'm like, you're always gonna come back to me sooner rather than later. But hey, like look, again, it's about attracting your tribe. No, honestly, Larry, you've honestly been so awesome. Like we can continue talking for days. And I do want to continue something like this again, like I talked about, like actually turning things like this into a webinar. And then also now people can work from you and they can come in and join live, ask questions, and we help with the personal brand. They can come to you now for speaking and sales. So it works for both of us and adds value, because at the end of the day, these are stories that we're talking about and adding value. So people are like, wow, if this is what they're giving to us for free, imagine if we paid them. And it's facts, right? When you pay attention. So, shit, the webinars, they may be at a price later on, right? And so we're giving them valuable game here. So I honestly want to thank you so much, Larry. And hopefully, so I actually travel to North Carolina tomorrow. What I may do is go stay in Charlotte for, we may interview some CEOs. If you know also anyone there we can interview, let me know. But we may stay around there, but I'll be in North Carolina.
Well, welcome to North Kakalaki. It takes one to know one. You are absolutely awesome, Sujira. I'm cheering you on, wishing you all the best. Continued success as you rock and roll and add value to so many people's lives. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well,
if you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here, and I'm sure you're going to love that one.